So I'm currently in Shanghai, and for those of you who don't know, I actually used to live here. But this time I'm here just for a short trip, and it's actually for the new Vivo X300 series launch. I've spent the past day or so with both of them, and here's my thoughts. Let's start with the baby, the standard X300. I say baby because it's kinda shrunk this year. You still get a silicon case in the box along with a charger and a cable. First up, I actually have the global version of both of these devices. Even though this is actually the official Chinese launch, the global launch is going to happen a little bit later on this year. But I'm still going to try cover absolutely everything, including a deep dive into their cameras. I don't know the prices of either of these phones yet, but I'll be sure to pop them in the comment section. The X300 comes in black, blue, purple, pink, and red. I have the pink color and it's nice and subtle, almost like a pastel pink, and I really dig the matte finish. It has a cute circular camera module which barely sticks out, and inside it sits two 50 megapixel sensors for the ultra wide and 3x periscope, and a 200 megapixel sensor for the main camera. Oddly enough, its 200 megapixel main camera is the exact same sensor that the Pro uses for its periscope. Its main and periscope have both been upgraded, but its ultra-wide camera is exactly the same as last year. And to top it off, its selfie camera has also improved. It's now using the exact same 50 megapixel JN1 sensor that it uses for its ultra-wide. We'll get to camera samples against the Pro in a minute, but for now let's focus on the other stuff. It has brushed aluminum side rails which are completely flat, and that's because the display this year is now also completely flat, which I am very happy about. The smaller X300 now has a much smaller 6.31-inch screen with very thin bezels, which is the same we saw with the X200 FE, and it has the same 4500 nits of peak brightness. And I must say, it's a pretty smart move. You see, last year the Pro and non-Pro were similar in size, so it didn't really make much sense to go for the non-Pro over the Pro model. This time, if you're looking for a compact Pro device, the X300 is pretty much that. It's a smaller phone and brings a lot of the same Pro features to the table. For starters, it now has a 120Hz LTPO display. Last year skipped out on LTPO. It also now has an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. Last year's was optical. It also now has a USB-C 3.2 port. Last year's was 2.0. It now has 40-watt wireless charging. Last year's didn't have wireless charging at all. It sticks to the same 90-watt wire charging, but this time its battery capacity is up to 6040 milliamp hours. That's pretty crazy for such a compact device. Now, if I forgot to mention, it does still pack in an IP68 and IP69 dust and water certification, but this time it has stronger reinforced glass, and of course it also has dual stereo speakers. And now finally, gone are the days of FunTouch OS. Global Origin OS 6 is here, and it's skinned over Android 16 out the box. It's global, so of course there's Google Discover, Circle to Search, and Gemini. But the design has been polished, animations are more fluid, optimizations are better, and now there's Origin Island, which is something we've seen other phones adopt recently. It comes paired with 12 gigs of RAM, up to 512 gigs of storage, and is powered by the latest MediaTek Dimensity 9500 chipset. But we'll get to that in a sec, since the Pro model uses the exact same chipset. Speaking of, let's jump into all things X300 Pro. The bigger brother also comes with a case and a cable in the box, but I didn't get a charging brick in my box. But if you get the photographer kit, you get a massive box with loads of goodies bundled in. Again, I'll make sure to leave the full price list of the Pro model in the comment section down below. Just like with the X200 Ultra's photographer kit, you get a phone strap, a PGY tech case, a camera control grip, a decorative ring, filter adapter ring, lens adapter ring, and a teleconverter lens which clicks into the adapter ring and multiplies the 3.5 times optical periscope zoom by 2.35 times, getting you a 200mm optical reach, which works out to around 8.2 times optical zoom. Now, of course, the X200 Ultra also had a photographer kit option like I mentioned, but that only released in China. This is going global, so it's the first telephoto extender lens we're going to see in the global market. Now, with that said, the X200 Ultra actually had a slightly further focal length of 3.7 times zoom from its periscope, so it got a little bit of a further reach with the telephoto extend as opposed to this, since this relies on a 3.5 times optical periscope. But we'll get to everything about the camera properly soon. The X300 Pro comes in black, brown, blue, and white. I have the brown color, and it's a nice change up from last year's titanium color. It's also got a bit of a pastel look, and just like the non-Pro, it also has a frosted matte glass finish, which I really like. Unlike the smaller X300, the Pro has a huge camera module, but there's a nice orange copper looking baseline ring wrapping around it. Inside of it sits the same 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera as the standard X300, which is again unchanged from last year, but the 50 megapixel main sensor has been upgraded and is now gimbal stabilized. And then there's a 200 megapixel 3.5 times periscope, which again is the same sensor the non-Pro uses for its main camera. And that sensor, by the way, is not the exact same 200 megapixel sensor which we saw last year. It's actually a slightly customized HPB sensor. The Pro model also benefits from an upgraded selfie camera, that being the same 50 megapixel Gen 1 sensor it uses for its ultra-wide. So for both phones, other than their ultra-wides, all of their camera sensors have been upgraded. So their selfie pics come out looking great, even though I was a tad too late for day pics and got most of my day photos closer to sunset. And nighttime selfies look just as good.
Hey guys, it's TechNick. Literally just landed in Shanghai. Just opened up these phones and I'm trying to get the content ready for launch day, which is actually tomorrow. So here's the Vivo X300 over here and the X300 Pro over here. Let me know your thoughts on their selfie 4K 60fps video as well as their microphone quality. And as you can see, it's pretty much golden hour here. I wanted to get some day photos, but no time for that. So golden hour photos and videos, and we're gonna get some night stuff pretty soon. I'm excited for that. But I just realized now that these phones can both shoot portrait video with selfie cam, but get this, at 4K 60fps. They can do it on the back too. It's kind of hard since I'm here alone to get that of me, but this is what 4K 60fps portrait selfie video looks like on both of these guys.
Selfie video comes out fantastic on both of them as well, and I was extremely surprised how well portrait selfie video came out at night. Again, their ultra-wide sensors are both the same, and they're the same as last year. The JN1 sensor still manages decent photos day or night, but the ultra-wide we got in the X200 Ultra is miles better. And even though they're using older ultra-wide sensors, software improves each year, which helps the sensor out a bit. 4K 60fps ultra-wide video comes out nice and smooth on both, especially when panning, but unfortunately they don't handle light noise the best. I wouldn't pick one over the other just based on their ultra-wides. Their main cameras, however, are quite different. Color science is great on both, but the Pro edges ahead by quite a bit in terms of dynamic range and overall balance. This is kinda expected though. I mean, the Pro is a Pro for a reason. Both of them make good use of the Zeiss partnership, and there are loads of different Zeiss styles. But I stuck to Zeiss Natural throughout all of these picks. Video with the main is also a step up on the Pro, especially when it comes to gimbal stabilization. I didn't have enough time to test everything, but only the Pro has 8K and Dolby Vision video. They can both shoot HDR video as well as 4K 120fps video and log. The biggest incentive with the Pro is its periscope sensor. The X300 has 3 times optical zoom and the Pro has 3.5 times, but the Pro's periscope is quite a lot larger and has a wider aperture, so dynamic range and detail is next level when comparing it to the standard X300. Here's the X300's ultra-wide sensor, and you see that building way out there? Well, this is it at its max 100 times zoom. The Pro can do the same trick, and it's crazy how good its 100 times zoom quality is. I tend to prefer the non-Pro's white balance, but the Pro is far more detailed and packs in better dynamic range. It's also a slightly further focal length zoom. And at night it's the same case. The Pro takes the better shot almost every time, but again, that's expected. But I mean, if we weren't comparing them here, you'd probably be very pleased with the non-Pro's optical zoom photos. It still has a very capable periscope sensor, especially for a compact flagship. And then the Pro throws even more incentive your way with its 200mm teleconverter lens, which takes 8.2 times optical photos. And if 100 times max zoom wasn't enough, with the converter lens, you can get up to a 5400mm focal length, or a 225 times zoom. It's also insane how well it performs in low lit situations. It managed to capture incredible detail of whatever I focused on and gave a proper DSLR look to anything not in focus. It's a serious piece of kit to anyone looking for more professional long-range zoom shots. Now forget about the external lens. Here's some snaps of the X300 Pro sensors against my iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'm not going to say much here, I just thought I'd throw these out there, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What I will say though is that at the iPhone's max 40 times zoom, things look pretty bad when seeing it side by side against the Vivo at the same focal length. So in terms of cameras, the Pro is of course a step ahead. it actually might land up being the best camera phone of the year, so I can't wait to throw it into a proper camera comparison. Stay tuned for that one. The Pro model also has brushed aluminum side frames, and they're also completely flat, because just like with the standard X300, the Pro also has a completely flat display, and it's everything I hoped for. It sticks to the same 6.78-inch screen size as last year and packs in the same resolution, the same 4500 nits of brightness, and the same 120Hz AMOLED panel with LTPO. But because it's flat, it looks so much better and has much slimmer bezels. It also has an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, an IP68 and 69 certification, dual speakers, and a USB 3.2 port, just like the standard X300. But the Pro has stronger armor glass. What's also exclusive to the Pro is a new shortcut button, which can be customized to your liking. But there's no camera control button like we saw with the X200 Ultra. Oh, and of course it also comes with Global Origin OS 6 skinned over Android 16 out the box, just like its baby brother. It has the same 90-watt wired and 40-watt wireless charging too, but its battery capacity is quite a bit larger at 6,510 mAh, up from last year's 6,000 mAh cell, and in certain regions it's 5,440, which is also up from 5,200 in those specific regions. And I can't wait to test it in one of my upcoming battery drain tests, so stick around for that one, since the X200 Pro got pretty much the best screen on time this year that I've ever seen in any of my battery drain tests when it comes to Android flagships. And that was also a huge thanks to its very efficient Dimensity chipset. And this year, both the X300 and Pro get the upgraded Dimensity 9500 CPU, which is supposedly 30% more efficient while multitasking, has 17% higher multi-core and 32% higher single-core performance, with clock speeds up across the board, up to a max of 4.21 GHz. These are the first phones to launch with this chipset, by the way. Benchmark scores kind of speak for themselves, and since phones have pretty much reached what they're actually capable of, expect very stable high frame rate gaming throughout long gaming sessions. They both feature liquid-cooled vapor chambers, which are supposedly more efficient, and while both pack in 4-channel UFS 4.1 storage at up to 512 gigs and LPDDR5X Ultra RAM, the Pro model offers more RAM at 16 gigs. The X300 series have just about checked every box I could think of when it comes to a flagship phone. Vivo have seriously outdone themselves here, and without throwing in any random gimmicks. These are two serious flagship smartphones, and I can't wait to test them in some of my upcoming smartphone comparisons. If I've somehow managed to miss anything here, be sure to check the links down below for more info. As always, this is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.